जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन जमुना तीरा बनचारी जमुना तीरा बनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा माधव राधे जय राधा माधव राधे जय जगन्नाथ बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय जगन्नाथ बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय राधा मदन मोहन राधे जय राधा मदन राधे जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहन की जय श्री श्री गौरनिताय की जय श्री श्री राधा मदन की जय जगत गुरु शिल प्रभुपाद की जय समस्त भक्त वृंद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव भक्त वृंद की जय Hare Krishna. So currently we are going through Srimad Bhagavad Gita 10th chapter, and so far we have covered till 5th verse, and we'll be starting from 6th onward. So we'll be covering 6th and 7th today, and 8th onwards, 8, 9, 10, 11. These are four Chatushloki verses, which are very, very important, and that we'll cover whenever we start next time. I think uh, next week, Sunday, is Narsimha Chaturdashi, and then maybe following week or so we'll cover that. So once again, thank you everybody for joining or for giving your time to listen that in future from the recorded session. So we'll get started. ॐ नमः भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमः भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमः भगवते वासुदेवाय। So I'm going to share the screen. So we are in the 6th verse. महर्षया सप्त पूर्वे चत्वर मनवस्तथा मद्भाव मनसा जात येषां लोका इमं प्रजाः। महर्षय सप्त पूर्वे चत्वर मनवस्तथा मद्भाव मनसा जात येषां लोका इमं प्रजाः। You can chant now, Mataji.
महर्षया सप्त पूर्वे चत्वरो मनवस्तथा मद्भवा मनसा जाता येषां लोका इमा प्रजा।
Okay, so now you can read the translation.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The 7 great sages and before them the 4 other great sages and the Manus, progenitors of mankind, come from me, born from my mind, and all the living beings populating the various planets descend from them.
Okay, so then we'll move on to the next verse. We'll just chant first, then we'll go for further discussion and all. Etam vibhutim yogam cha mama yo vetti tattvataha savikalpena yogena yujyate natra samsaya. Etam vibhutim yogam cha mama yo vetti tattvataha savikalpena yogena yujyate natra samsaya. Can go ahead now.
Etam vibhutim yogam cha mama yo vetti tattvata so vikalpena yogena yujyate natra samsaya.
Translation.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One who is factually convinced of this opulence and mystic power of mind engages in unalloyed devotional service. Of this, there is no doubt.
Okay, so then we'll go back. Okay, we'll do Mangalacharan, then we'll get started. ॐ गणन्तिमिरन्धस्य गणाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति सोपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कंत राधकंत नमस्तुते तप्त कंचन गौरांगे राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Paschatya Deshatarane. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we'll go for the word for word first for the sixth verse, then again we'll read translation, then we'll go into purport and further discussion. So Maharashya, Maharashya means Rishi, Maharashya, the great sages. Sapta means seven, Purve before, Chattara, Chattara means four, Manava means Manus, and Tatha also, Madbhava, born of me, Manasa, from the mind, Jata, born, Yesham, of them, Loke, in the world, Imam, all these, Praja, population. So the seven great sages, and before them, the four other great sages, and the Manus, progenitors of mankind, come from me, born from my mind, and all the living beings populating the various planets descend from them. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying, the Lord is giving a genealogical synopsis of the universal population. So, what do we understand by genealogical synopsis? So, genealogical means when we try to trace out, okay, who is my father, father's father, grandfather, like that. Mm, I have been to, Gaya recently. So I saw that how they maintain. I knew that before also. I went there before also with my father long back. So I saw that how they maintain genealogy. So if we ask them, I am from this place. My father's name is this, and my gotra is this. Then they can give you the entire genealogy. Your father, father's father, all these are well maintained, recorded at their end. So that kind of genealogical synopsis, along with their attributes, somewhat to some extent, some attributes um, is given over here. And the Brahma is the original creator born out of the energy of the Supreme Lord, who is known as Hiranyagarbha. So, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, who lies down in the Garbhodaka ocean, and from his navel comes out the lotus with thousands of petals. And on top of that, Lord Brahma is born. So he is called, therefore, Hiranyagarbha. And from Brahma, all the seven great sages, and before them, four other great sages named Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatan, and Sanat Kumar. And 14 Manus are manifested. So these four sons, Chatush Kumar, they are the eldest sons of Lord Brahma, but they don't look like the eldest sons, because first of all, they all stay together, all four, they go together, and they stay like 5 year old, and they don't wear any cloth, they stay naked, and they're very, very wise, very, very wise, and very, very powerful. So before they became devotee, they were like master in knowledge. They were roaming around and they went to mm, Vaikuntha, and we know that there were six gates they went through, and the seventh gate they were blocked, and then they cursed Jai Vijay. So even though they looked, silly boys, but they were very very powerful. Eventually, they ended up becoming the reason for many many things in this world. Whatever Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha did, Ravana Kumbhakarna did, Dantavakra Vidurata. So they became the reason for many many associated things. I mean, at least from storyline point of view. Now, these four sons, when they were born, uh, Brahma had some intention. So he wanted to create progeny. So he told these four sons that you create progeny. Now they were very wise. So they said that, we don't want to fall in trap of this Maya. Uh, So we'll stay like this because if we grow up, then Maya will trap us further. So we'll stay like this, forget about creating progeny, we'll stay like that. That's it. So Brahma became very angry. And out of his anger came Rudra, Lord Shiva. And so he was crying like anything, Rudra. In fact, 11 Rudras were there. And then there is a story like the Rudras were attacking Brahma. They wanted to destroy the creation and all. And the Brahma said, wait a minute, this is not the time for distraction. You go there, I'll give you 11 wives, Sadha, there are many, many, 11 wives. Each of them were given a wife and they were given a place. That go and you Mahakalpur, you stay there. And when the time of destruction will come, I'll call you and you can come and destroy. This is not the time. It's like the beginning, right? So then they were satisfied and then they left from there. Eventually, then Brahma created seven more sons. And for that, he didn't need any help of a female partner. And this seven rishis, saptarshis, were born of him from his different parts. Like Atri Muni, he was born from his tears, like that. Then Vasishtha, Kratu was from his hand, like that. Mm. Pulaha, Pulastha, mm, Bhrigu, like that. There are seven sages who were born of him. So there these seven sages, and then 14 months. So we know that in a day of Brahma, there are 14 Manus. Mm. So there are 1000 Yuga cycles in a day of Brahma, and there are 14 Manus. So roughly under one Manu comes around 71 plus Yuga cycle that they manage or administer. So currently, out of the 14, we are in the middle way. So we seventh Manu, Vivasata Manu, he is currently managing. So these Manus are the progenitors of mankind. Hmm. So it is said human come from the Manus. Hmm. They give the rules how the human society should behave, what are the duties, all those things are given by the Manus. Hmm. So when the creation was taking place, many different kinds of living entities were born from the body of Brahma. And some of the bodies were so kind of sinful and all like that. So Brahma himself used to leave his body, hmm, and take up a new body like that. He used to repent and like that. So like ghosts and all, demons and all, when he used to produce, he used to feel ashamed and all. So he used to leave that body, and then some creatures would take that possession of that body like that. So anyway, when this was going on, finally from his body two personalities came out, one male and one female. The male personality was Swayambhuva Manu, and the female was Chatarupa, his good wife. So these husband wife were born from his body, and then from them the further progeny came up. I think we have discussed before. Akuti, Devahuti, Prasuti, three daughters were there, and there's Uttanapad, one son, and there is another son. I think Mandata or something. There is another son. I don't exactly recall, but there are two sons. So there are five like sons and daughter, and from there the different progenitors came up, and we know how Kardama Muni married Devahuti, and from uh, Kapil Dev, and like we know Dhruva Maharaj, like that. He came also in this lineage from Manu, from he was the son of Uttanapad, like that. So okay, sorry. Now I remember the name. It is Priyabrata. Priyabrata and Uttanapad. There are two sons, not Mandata. So now, so this way the genealogy is there from Manu. Okay, and then when you add up all these personalities, so we have four sages and then seven sages later on, Saptarshi. So 4 plus 7, 11, and then 14 Manus. So we have 25. So these 25 are patriarchs, and from them, the further population came up. So all these 25 great sages are known as patriarchs of the living entities all over the universe. Now these Manus were also like saints, Rajarshis, so that way. So they from them all the living entities all over the universe. Excuse me. So all over the universe, all the living entities came from them. Now the point is, uh, we are talking about this universe. It is not like the other universes were also populated from these personalities. So we are talking about this particular universe only, got populated by these the progenies of these personalities. There are innumerable universes, hmm, innumerable planets within each universe, and each planet is full of population of different varieties. So we cannot just fathom that in each planet, hmm, how many living entities are there. We cannot even imagine in the Earth planet how many ants are there. We will fail to count them. Huge number. Then what to talk about all the species which are visible, some are not even visible. Some are there inside the rocks also. Hmm. Deep inside the ocean, inside the rocks. So that way, living entities are there everywhere. Atma is called Sarvagata. So the living entities are there everywhere, even in the sun planet. So the point is, all the living entities are coming from those progenitors. Um, like we have Marichi from the Kashyap, and other sages came up, and from the Kashyap Muni, all the different species, like the reptiles, the snakes, birds, and the demons, the Daityas, the demigods, all came from him. So like that. So from these 25 um, patriarchs, all the living entities populated the whole universe. Brahma underwent penance for 1,000 years of demigods before he realized by the grace of Krishna how to create. Now, the desire for creation is there in all the living entities, but in Brahma, that was there in a very intense way. So, to fulfill that desire, obviously, First of all, he became Brahma, and then once he became Brahma, he didn't know how to create. So that comes from Krishna, the desire and the capability. Hmm. How to The desire may be there in the living entity, but the capability, the determination, all those things, the ingredients, everything comes from Krishna. So he did penance because in the beginning he was going to the lotus stem. He was going downwards, because all of a sudden he found he is born on top of the lotus. Nothing else. Everywhere it is darkness. So obviously, as nothing else are there nearby, you'd like to know where I'm born from. What is the source? So he climbed down to the lotus stem. He didn't find anything. He could not trace out the beginning. So then he was tired, but he heard these two words, tapa. Tapa means do penance. So he got his first instruction. And he came on top of the lotus again and then started doing penance for 1000 years of demigod. Hmm. Like 300 and like a 1 day of demigod is our 1 year. Hmm. So he did 1000 demigods year. He did penance. Then he got all the intelligence on how to create, hmm, in this universe, how to carry on the secondary creation. Then from Brahma came Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumar discussed, and then Rudra, and then the seven sages. In this way, all the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas are born out of the energy of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everybody came from him. And we'll see later on when we'll go in the eighth verse, Krishna will say, Aham sarvasya prabho mat sarvam pravartate. Everything comes from me. I am the source of everything. So he's just building up for that. He's saying how everybody and everything is coming from him. Hmm. Now, why he's saying this thing? Because this is the most confidential knowledge he's giving to Arjuna. And as we discussed previously, that Krishna said, Manmana bhava madbhakta. So how to remember him? And that will lead to how Arjuna will become his devotee. If he hears glories of Krishna sufficiently, that will develop, hmm, the faith and dedication towards Krishna. If he knows about Krishna, that he is ultimate Lord, then he will be more pulled towards Krishna to become his devotee. So then it will become easy for him to bhava mad bhakta, to become his devotee. And what to talk about manmana. So there are many references in this material world Krishna will give in this chapter, mm, that that will help Arjuna to remember Krishna while staying in this material world. Because mostly we see matter all around. So another point is how to focus on Krishna, how to remember Krishna, even though we are seeing matter in front of us. One may say in a very crude way, okay, I am going to office. So what I'm seeing is office and office colleagues and whatever, table chairs, whatever is there in the office. So how can I remember Krishna like that? So similarly, in this material world, in a broader sense, we are seeing many things out there. How to remember Krishna when you see that? Krishna already gave some uh, ideas before. He said that I am the pure taste of water. Rasoham apsukonteya. In the seventh chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he said, I am the taste of water. Hmm. Punna gandham prithivishcha. So the characteristics of earth is that it has fragrance, the smell. So when you talk about the five tattas, pancha tattas, right? So earth, water, air, ether, fire, right? So ether is very subtle. The sound passes through ether. Hmm. And then we have air. Hmm. Air touch sensation gives, it gives touch sensation. Then we have fire, through which you can see things. It's a sign of form. Fire creates the form. And then taste, that's there in the water. We gradually we are going towards grosser and grosser. And then finally earth, and that is from that we get smell, hmm, that we can detect earth. So in earth, all previous ones are there also. That is a detailed discussion. I'm not going there. But I'm saying Krishna said, Rasoham Opsu Kaunteya. He said that I am the taste of water, and then he also said that I am the fragrance of earth, pure fragrance of earth. And then he gave many other such examples on how to remember Krishna, how to feel his presence in this material energy. He will further give the specific opulences in this chapter, or vibhutis. That's why this chapter is called Vibhuti Yuga. Now, Brahma is known as Pitamaha and grandfather, and Krishna is known as Prapitamaha, the father of grandfather. And that is stated in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita 11:39. Now, Krishna is called father or grandfather or great grandfather based on different context. Hmm. So Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita in the 15th chapter, Aham Bijapada Pita. So I am the seed giving father. So that way he is father. Hmm. And then uh, Swayambhuva Manu is called the father of mankind. Hmm. And Brahma is the father of Swayambhuva Manu. That way Brahma is grandfather and Krishna is father of Brahma. That's why he is called Prapitamaha, hmm, great grandfather. Hmm. And that is there in the um, 11.39 Bhagavad Gita 11.39. There also it is mentioned. So Vayu, Yama, Agni, Varuna, uh, Sasanka, Prajapatistvam, Prapitamahascha, Namo Namaste Astu, Sahasrakritna, Punascha, Punascha Bhuyopi, Namo Namaste. Hmm. So in the 11th chapter, when Krishna will show his Vishwaru, so Arjun will say that you are air. Mhm. Previously, we saw he is the in seven when we discussed in the 7th chapter, he said, I am the taste of water and I am the fragrance of earth. Here it is said, you are air and you are supreme controller. You are fire. So all elements are coming up. You are water. eh? You are the moon. You are Brahma, the first living creature. You are Brahma. So sometimes when there is no living entity in this world, Krishna himself comes as Brahma. So this is different chapter as I'm going. I'm not going to explain the whole thing. This is a side discussion. So the first living creature, and you are the great grandfather. So here it is mentioned, he is the great grandfather. So that's what we see in the 1139 is the great grandfather mentioned over here. So that way, in different contexts, Krishna is mentioned differently. And now we'll move on uh, the next verse. And in the next verse, again, I'll go through the word for word. Before that, the verse is Etam Vibhutim Yogam Cha Mama Yo Veti Tattvataha So Abhikalpena Yogena Yujyate Natra Samshaya. Etam, all this, Vibhutim, opulence, Yogam, mystic power, Cha, also, Mama, of mind, Yah, anyone who, Veti, knows, Tattata, factually, Sa, he, Abhikalpena, without division, Yogena, in devotional service, Yujyate, is engaged, Na, never, Atra, here, samshaya, doubt. So, Krishna is saying one who is factually convinced of this opulence and mystic power of mind engages in unalloyed devotional service. And of this, there is no doubt. So the intention was to help us to engage in unalloyed devotional service. Excuse me. So Krishna said, in the ninth chapter, we discussed about devotional service, glories of devotional service. And Krishna said, Manmana bhava mad bhakta. Bhakta means one will do bhakti, right? And here the point is how one can be engaged in unalloyed devotional service to Krishna. For that, one has to be factually convinced of the opulence and mystic power of Krishna. Now, if we know, as it is mentioned in the 29th verse of 5th chapter, Suridham Sarvabhutanam Yatyamam Shantim Brichati. So, one person may be very powerful, but whether that person has um, compassion for us in the heart or not, that is to be checked. If that person is not a well-wisher of us, then what's the use of? There are many, many powerful persons in this world who are not well-wisher of us. Then what's the use? We cannot take shelter of them. We cannot count on them. So if God is very powerful, but he is not a well-wisher, then it's not much of use. And let's say God is a very, very well-wisher, but powerless. So what's the use? You will do wish a lot, but powerless. It's not going to be useful. But what about he is very, very powerful and a well-wisher. So he's Sarva Loko Maheshwaram, as it is mentioned in the 529. Sarva Loko Maheshwaram, he is the Lord of all the controllers. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. Ishvara Parama Krishna, he is the ultimate Lord. Param Ishwar means the supreme controller. So now he is Suridam Sarva Bhutanam. It's not a this guy or this person or that person. He is the Suri. He is the well-wisher of everybody. Hmm? And he is the supreme controller. So then why not somebody will take shelter of him? This way, when we come to know about the various aspects, various features of Krishna, then naturally we'll, get drawn towards him and will surrender to him. Just one aspect, if somebody tells us, just imagine that the bodily force of Mahavishnu, uh, from those big, big universes come out. If we just try to fathom that, we feel, oh, I bow down to that Lord. Just one aspect. There are many, many aspects. Then there are sweeter aspects. Hmm. These we are talking about the majestic. Now, sweeter aspects, if you say, okay, if Krishna is going to play his flute, then everybody will be stunned. Yamuna will start flowing, and all of a sudden, Yamuna will hear, and the water will freeze, won't flow. So, huh? That's our Lord. So like that, you will get stunned. Hmm? So after all, Krishna is all attractive. So anything and everything, he is attractive to the fullest extent. We are not even talking about the six opulences, what any Ishwar, Bhagavan will have. That we are not talking about here. We are just talking about the sweetness of Krishna. That is enough to make one bow down to him and totally surrender to him. One aspect, mm, what to talk about other things. And Vrindavan Dham is mainly mm, popular or known for this opulence, where Krishna never kills any demon with any weapon. He doesn't need that. His hand is so sweet and so powerful. So, like that. So, when you know all those things about Krishna, the Supreme Lord, will naturally, nobody will have to force us, just like the mm, horse drawn cart. Mm. Sometimes we'll have to push the horse to obey the order, to pull the cart, or you know, otherwise it may not go that fast or like that. But there are little bit force is required. But when we are totally aware of the opulence, we cannot be totally aware, but to great extent, if we are aware of the opulences of Krishna, to whatever extent he reveals to us, we'll be drawn towards Krishna without avikalpana, without deviation. So without division, it is mentioned, but you know, just like a lamp in a place where there's no wind blowing out there. So we'll see the lamp is not waving like that. Our attention towards Krishna will be fixed without any flickering. So when we have full understanding of Krishna, then we'll not get deviated. We'll understand that we are talking about Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anybody else we talk about are none but subordinate to him. We are not talking about any disconnected thing or being here. Everybody is connected to Krishna. So it is not a matter of oh, that person, somebody else. We are talking somebody, anybody else we are talking about. Everybody are part and parcel of Krishna. And the Lord, Supreme Lord, we bow down to that person. Because if we are connected to him, then we are connected to everybody. So there is no loss out there, no missing out anybody. So that Supreme Lord we bow down to. And when somebody gets the full understanding of the opulence, then one becomes like a mad person. Hmm. So mad that one will blabbers and repeats words and all those things. That's what happened to Arjuna. The verse 1139, as we just saw, he was offering his obeisances again and again and again and again. He was repeating the words like in ecstasy. Means when he is in ecstasy, he is aware of Krishna, who is Krishna. Then that kind of things happen, and which are from normal literature perspective, one may say these are false, but these are not false. These are expressions of ecstasy. So these are not false. And here it is happening to Arjuna, and it can happen to anybody who are that fortunate. And it happened with many, many devotees who saw Krishna, like obviously all fortunate devotees, like Dhruva Maharaj and all. You know, they're doing so much of austerity and all. But when Krishna comes, gets stunned. So then the next moment has to be coming from Krishna. He will touch with the conch shell or something. Then the next moment will start. What will be the next moment? They'll just, do dandavat, like a rod, they will be flat on the ground, offering obeisances. That's the thing. Basically, the point is when you know about Krishna, we won't think here and there. Uh, then the next question will be, okay, I want to offer obeisances, that is fine, but what will be my prayer? And for most of the devotees who attain Krishna and all, uh, there might have been hiccups. Then Krishna touched with conch shell or with hand or something, and then there is like fluently flowing top class transcendental prayers from their mouth. Who knows this is coming out of their realization or it is induced by Krishna's mercy or however it is. But at this point of time, if Krishna won't come anyway. It's like he doesn't come in for anybody and everybody. But even if he comes, we may not have our prayers ready, right? So then we'll be depending on him that okay, he will touch with his conchal or something. Then we'll, due to his mercy, we may be able to speak something. But obviously, for sure, we have a long way to go and get a lot of mercy of the spiritual master and Guru Parampara before we can even think about that. And this doesn't happen in the age of Kali. But obviously, we should move forward anyway, to get the mercy of Krishna. The point is, when we know about Krishna, then there is no other uh, way but will be surrendering to Krishna. In this material world, we have been trying to get success in different fields, and sometimes we get partial success, and sometimes we keep on trying, yes, this way, that way, and we miss out that getting material success in this world, hmm, is not that goal of life, only goal of life. Yes, materially, some practical living we need to um, have in this world, but that's not the ultimate goal. We need to understand that why we came here, who are we, why we came here, where we are going, what we are supposed to do while we are here. Like somebody is doing office job, they're very successful. So even though they are successful, they need to do something extra apart from that. What is that extra? They need to maintain their family also, right? So this is something extra. So well, it's not like you are successful, that doesn't mean that you don't have to maintain your family. Similarly, even if you are successful and you are maintaining your family, that doesn't mean you don't have any other next duty. One may have social duty, this duty, that duty. But this is the ultimate duty, which may be, you know, this material world, only the saintly persons or the devotees will tell, nobody else will tell. This most important duty people often neglect. And as people forget this, hmm, अनादि बहिर्मुखा जीव कृष्ण भूली गला. मतलब कृष्ण वेद पुराण कहिला, like that is the verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita. माया मुग्ध जीव कृष्ण भूली गला, ऐसे कृष्ण वेद पुराण कहिला. The point is, we have forgotten Krishna due to the delusion of Maya in this material world. Therefore, Krishna had to come or send somebody with his message. Ved, Puran, all these scriptures are there just to guide us so that we can go back to Godhead. He's so merciful. He's sending this thing. He is kind of restless. He's restless. Why my part and parts of these living entities are suffering? Why they are not coming back to me? So he's restless. He is more eager, much more eager than us. Why? When this? He looks like he's very indifferent, but he's not. He is looking for us to go back to Godhead. And he is sending all these facilities in terms of Vigraha, holy name, scriptures, devotees, holy dhams, holy rivers, mm, Vigrahas, Sankirtan movement, prasadam, so many avenues of mercies coming from him to take us back to Godhead. But we are negligent. That is the unfortunate situation. So the highest summit of spiritual perfection is knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we should know who is supreme. Do we know really? And if you take, let's say, we take a survey and you give many options, whom do you think is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? And you'll find, if you give many options, and then at the end keep a open option, open text, others, whatever your other options are there, you type it. That also gets filtered. Even if you give many options, still people will come up with more options. Somebody will say the Brahman is the ultimate. Somebody, okay, obviously may say Krishna. Somebody will say Vishnu, and Krishna comes from Vishnu. Hmm. Somebody will say Lord Shiva. Somebody will say Durga Devi. Somebody will say Paramatma. Somebody will say themselves. There are some Ahangra Upasak. They will say themselves, the Supreme. Somebody will say, I'm covered by Brahman. If the covering is gone, I am the Supreme. So there are many, many people and many, many ideas are there. So people don't have clear idea. That's why in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapat Vasudevam Sarvabhauma Mahatma Durlava. So many, many lifetimes one may spend just to come to the conclusion that Vasudeva is the supreme personality of God. It's not easy. It looks like very easy um, to convince that Krishna is the supreme personality of God. Because if one accepts that, then next few steps may happen very quickly. But coming to this conclusion that Krishna is the supreme Lord, that itself takes lots of time. It's not so easy step. The Vedas are filled with different kinds of worships, demigod worship, this and that. Why? Why those are there? Because people will not be able to accept the direct path of accepting Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead. Therefore, there are many indirect paths, options are given, so that eventually they come to Krishna. Vedasya sarved ahameva vedya. Krishna says in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Hmm. Purpose of studying and all the Vedas, it's to know me. So if one has to know him, then why one has to know the other demigods and all which are mentioned in the different parts of Vedas? Because people won't be able to take it straightforward. It requires purification. Purity is the force. Other than purification, it won't penetrate within us. So if new persons are coming, we are convincing them about Krishna. They may shake their hand and all, shake their head and all, but eventually it may blank out. Next day they may again be back to square one. The point is, due to lack of purity, they could not retain that knowledge. Therefore, one has to do chanting. Same knowledge of Bhagavad Gita will appeal us in a different way at different times based on how much pure we are. We are chanting for 1 or 2 months. We study Bhagavad Gita, we get some level of knowledge. Couple of years down the line, as we have chanted 16 rounds for 2 years or so, purification has come up, and that same shloka, same purport will give us deeper realization. And as time will progress, we'll get deeper and deeper realization because purity will increase. That's how it is. So this is not material knowledge. This is spiritual knowledge. Hmm. It acts in a different way. Purity is the force. So unless one is firmly convinced of the different opulence of Supreme Lord, he cannot engage in devotional service. We need to know the opulence of Lord. What is his extent? Is he opulence is only this earthly realm, or is it expanding to this universe, or is it like he's having influence in all the universes, or is it in this material cloud only, which is called Ekpad Vibhuti, 1/4 of the Vibhuti or opulence, or is it spreading over the rest of the 3/4 also? So when you understand he is the supreme lord of entire 4 quarters, or mm, uh, this 1/3 and ekpad and tripad, all 100%, he is the lord of entire creation, spiritual, material world, everything. Then you'll understand, okay, I don't have to look for any other master. He is the master, lifetime after lifetime. Mama Janmani Janmani Shari Bhavatat Bhakti Ahai. He is the Lord, lifetime after lifetime. My forgetfulness, is something else. But if I have the full remembrance, then I will accept. And if I don't accept, still the fact is not changed that he is the master, lifetime after lifetime. I I may be obedient or disobedient servant this lifetime or that lifetime, this time or that time. But that doesn't change my supreme master, supreme well-wisher. He is the supreme Lord. Generally, people know that God is great, but they do not know in detail how God is great. Oh. So it is just like, oh, Prabhuji, the lecture is very good. How was the lecture? Lecture is very good. Yeah, tell 2, 3 points. No, lecture was very good. That's what I want to say. Like that. So similarly, God is great. Yeah, that's it. Tell something about God's features, how He looks like, and what are His characteristics. And God is great, like that. So that is very superficial. We don't want to go in depth. So if you don't go in depth, then how will you feel attracted towards Krishna? Tomorrow another great personality may come up, and as you haven't known the depth of greatness of Krishna, you may equate the other person to Krishna. So that's why we need to know how great Krishna is. So here are the details. If one knows factually how God is great, then naturally he becomes a surrendered soul and engages himself in devotional service of the Lord. When one factually knows the opulence of the Lord, there is no alternative but to surrender to Him. So when we find that there is no other person who can give protection other than Him, then one may say, okay, I'll surrender to Him, but I may not be surrendered from my heart because I feel you may not be a good well-wisher of me. Then why should I surrender? But now the thing is, I don't have any option. I find that you are the most powerful. Nobody else have more power than you. Therefore, unwillingly, I'm surrendering to you. But then if I know, oh, you are the most well-wisher of me, then I'll say, okay, then I surrender to you. Whom shall I surrender to? Because you have all the things which I was looking for. And then one may know, go deeper and deeper. One may say, I do things in the perfect way. Others I see they have many faults while they do that or something. But if we observe even the devotees, we may find that, okay, this particular service, I was thinking that I am the person who does that in the best possible way. But you may think there are many, many, if you meet with other devotees, talk to them, you may find that, oh, actually, there are many, many aspects of this service. There's a lot of depth in that. And there are many, many devotees, they already have mastered it. And what I think thoughtfully I do properly because of their experience and expertise, because devotees are daksha, expert, they have already crossed that level long back and they are operating at a higher level. They're dexterous. They know how to do all these things. If you talk about, let's say, garden making, if you talk about dressing the deity and all those services, there are some devotees who are meditating on that, doing the service year after year. They're so expert that you may think, okay, I made this dress very nice using a lot of thought process, this and that. Then you talk to a devotee who is in their service for a long time, you will find that there are many, many details one can think about based on their experience, their realization, and all, which you might have missed out. And you thought yours is perfect. So, like that, we are talking about a devotee. But when you talk about God, I mean, He's spotless. So, obviously, every aspect, what you might have thought through, you'll find that Lord already have thought it much, much, much before. Now I'm thinking about my this lifetime. Maybe I'm thinking, okay, how I will get delivered in this lifetime. But Lord is thinking for last millions of lifetimes, how this living entity will come to me. So it is like we are nowhere nearby to even think about this aspect that we are a well-wisher of ourselves. If you think, In that aspects also, that aspect also, we stand nowhere because Krishna is ever well-wisher and he can really do anything if he wants. So that way, the more and more we know about Krishna, we can understand that we must surrender to him. Just we, all the chemical reactions in our body are happening by grace of Krishna. We are not doing anything. We are doing some basic stuff. We are trying to talk, we are trying to see something, we are trying to hear something, do something with our hands, all those things. That is fine. But the level of chemical reactions, coordinations, all those things going on within our body, which we don't control, is unfathomable. And everything is happening by grace of Krishna. So, in detail, if we know about it, for example, if a child is, the fetus is there in the womb of mother, and nothing is in our control. What will be the complexion of the child? How tall, or big, healthy? All there are many features, attributes, aspects, characteristics. Nothing over nothing we have any control. One may say, okay, uh, based on the karma, the child will get a body. Okay, but who actually ensuring that based on that karma, the child gets that kind of body? That is Krishna. So not even a leaf or blade of grass moves without the mercy of Krishna or without the sanction of Krishna. That is Krishna. So this is again one aspect of Krishna. There are many aspects of Krishna, unlimited aspects of Krishna. So if we know few, that is enough for us to think that okay, I am not going to surrender to anybody else but to Krishna. And that's the purpose of knowledge given in this chapter and in other places also. This factual knowledge can be known from descriptions in Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and similar literature. So that's the need for reading Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad Gita. If we don't read, where from we'll get this knowledge? Uh, in the midday newspaper, where we'll get to know about Krishna? No, nowhere. These are meant for making you forget Krishna. All the magazines of mundane world, all those will help us to forget Krishna. So the thing is, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, ittadi jo literature, those are there provided by Krishna so that we can understand him, we can remember him. Other than Krishna, who can give the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita? Means initiate the knowledge. Definitely, the pure devotees can maintain this knowledge and transfer it to the next generation. But Krishna is the initiator of that knowledge. Krishna is the initiator of all the bona fide disciplic succession. These four sampradayas came from Krishna. He is the source. So the point is, whether we get liberated, whether we enjoy in this material world, whatever we do, without mercy of Krishna, we cannot do anything. Matta smriti jnanam apahanam cha. If we want to forget Krishna and enjoy in a materialistic way, that too can happen by the grace of Krishna. Because if he doesn't sanction, then we may not be able to forget him. And if he doesn't sanction, we cannot remember him or remember anything for the matter of fact. So at every step, in every aspect, we depend on Krishna. If we hear something, what to make out of that hearing, to connect that to our cognition. Okay, I heard this noise. Oh, my father is calling. So this noise I heard, then I'll have to connect this to my previous memory. Oh, this is my father's voice. My father is calling. How will I do so if my memory is not going to work? That happens by mercy of Krishna. So this is one example. There are n number of examples. So every step, every moment, we depend on Krishna. So through these vibhutis and all, which Krishna says they are unlimited, I am giving some of those. Later on, he will mention. we get some idea how great he is and how much we should be grateful to him and therefore surrender to him. And he's giving, he knows that nobody may know in an authoritative way to tell this. And for that, I need to give authoritative literatures like Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, so that people will come to know about it. That is the mercy of Krishna. He would have ignored, he would not, if he would like his Swaraj, he might have skipped this step. He would not have given these literatures. That doesn't reduce his glory, but we would have been spoiled in the Maya. So that is due to his unconditional compassion. He is giving this literatures to us. So in the administration of this universe, there are many demigods distributed throughout the planetary system, and the chief of them are Brahma, Lord Shiva, and the four great Kumaras, and the other patriarchs. So that we know there are many controllers in this material world, many demigods, and then there are patriarchs. There are many forefathers of the population of the universe, and all of them are born of Supreme Lord Krishna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the original father of all forefathers. He is the original. There is no origin of Krishna. He is the origin of everything. We'll see that in the 8th verse it will come. So these are some of the opulences of Supreme Lord. When one firmly convinced of them, he accepts Krishna with great faith without any doubt. Because all the doubts will go away as we hear more and more and will be fixed on Krishna. And this fixity is very important to ensure that we are not deviating, we are not wavering when the difficult situation will come, when our faith will be tested. So he accepts, then one accepts Krishna with great faith without any doubt, and he engages in devotional service. So if we engage in devotional service, okay, we make progress. But when we engage in unalloyed devotional service, then liberation is not far away. And this liberation is not like mukti. This is uh, to serve Krishna without any contamination, and totally engage in pure devotional service of Krishna. That itself is non-different from mukti. Even if one is engaged in this material world, that person is liberated already. Yahajassa haridassa karmana manasa gira nikhilasya avastasu jivan mukta sauchate. So in that person is called jivan mukta, the person who is there in this material world, but he is not attached and totally engaged in unalloyed devotional service of Krishna. So when somebody is fixed like that, doesn't matter whether they are in this world or outside or in this spiritual world, they are not wavered. They don't flicker. Narayana pare sarve na kutaschana vibhati sarga apavarga narakeshu apitulla tadarshi. So those who are Narayan para, devotees of Narayan, devotees of Krishna, na kutaschana vibhati, they don't get frightened or fearful, or they don't get distracted. Sarga apavarga narakeshu. If they go to heaven, if they go to hell, or they become liberated, all are same to them. Apitullartha darshana. They consider everything equivalent. That is called Narayan Para. So they don't flicker. So um, all this particular knowledge is required in order to increase one's interest in loving devotional service of Lord. One should not neglect to understand fully how great Krishna is. For by knowing the greatness of Krishna, one will be able to be fixed in sincere devotional service. So, how great Krishna is, the love is there in the details. So, we need to know the details. Then only we'll be able to love Krishna, how great he is. Otherwise, we'll just say one thing, God is great. God is great. That's it. That's not enough. When we are interested in somebody, we need to know much more details. That's what we need to know about Krishna. Then we can love him. Though it's like a little bit elevated subject matter, Astakaliya Leela, uh, like in the 8 times of the day, different ways Krishna performs first times, and his associates also engage accordingly. Uh, but these are details. Once one comes to know about those details, then only one can engage in that way. But obviously, for new people, this is not what is required. But eventually, one will come to know about it and then engage accordingly. So, details are there, details are important. And there are many aspects, many areas where details are there in terms of dressings, in terms of behaviors, activities. The different gopis are there, there are different activities are there, how they dress and all those things are there. I mean, there are many devotees who kind of do rigorous research in that to understand how it is. So that's there in the details. But it's not like on the day one should start doing all the research about gopis' behaviors, dressings, and all. That's not expected. One should at least know how great Krishna is. One should know the tattva. Uh, One should know all those things. Meditate on Krishna accordingly. Knowledge of Bhagavad Gita one should have. Gradually, one will get elevated, and then the finer details will be revealed to that person. So these are some of the opulences of Supreme Lord. When one firmly convinced of them, he accepts Krishna with great faith and without any doubt. So that's the intention, that without any doubt, firmly we should clasp the lotus feet of Krishna. That way, as he said, Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Braja Aham Tam Sarva Pape Vimokshasya Masaja. So it will become very easy for us to surrender to Krishna if we know about him. Just by knowing about him is good enough. Then Krishna won't have to tell us that you must surrender to me. Just by knowing him, we'll surrender to him. So that's why Ved, Puran, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, everything is given to us. So that we can get engaged in unalloyed devotional service to Krishna. That is the ultimate remedy for our this bhuta roga, or whatever to say, this material existence, whatever disease we are going through, disease of forgetting Krishna, disease of material existence, everything will vanquish just by remembrance of Krishna um, with proper knowledge. So with that, I'm going to pause over here for today. So let's see if there is any question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes,
Hare Krishna Mataji.
yes, it was such a wonderful verse and explanation, like very nectarian and relishable. How Krishna is always waiting for us, and we are negligent. When you said that part, it was like um, I was feeling that, trying to feel that. So, actually, I wanted to ask one question. That is, you said about remembering Krishna all the time. So it's like you gave the example of office. So if we go to office, we see table, chair, and colleagues. So how is it that we remember him? So once we know the details about him, we'll get more attracted, and that's when we can see Krishna everywhere. But it's like I want to ask, like when we see people, it might happen that we are thinking that Krishna is there as the super soul in them. So that way we remember him. by seeing people. Then we are seeing thing like sun, moon, all these trees. Then also we can remember Krishna. Even insects, we can remember Krishna. But when we see non-living things, how do we process our thought to remember Krishna even then?
Non-living things, I mean, you are excluding in trees and all, or including
No,
trees are
no.
living?
Trees are living,
Hmm.
non-living in the sense like table, chair, some
Hmm.
furniture, or
Hmm.
something like some
Hmm.
vehicle, whatever.
Hmm. Okay. I'll give you one easy example. So if you see Jagannath, Lord Jagannath's chariot, does it give you any remembrance of Krishna or no?
Yes, it makes us remember Lord Jagannath.
Okay. And if you see some ropes, hmm, does it give remembrance of Krishna? If somebody tells, these are the ropes, every year we use these ropes to pull Lord Jagannath's chariot.
Yes,
Does it
then
give remembrance?
immediately that vision comes of Jagannath and then
Right,
Bharat.
like that. Yeah. So certain times it may be directly related. Sometimes we need to understand how it is connected. Everything is connected, no doubt. As Prabhupada says, everything, there is only two things, hmm, Krishna and Krishnas, no third thing. So in this whole world, Krishna and Krishna. So the thing is, if you talk about table, chair, and everything, first of all, everything belongs to Krishna. Let's say one table is made, it will last for, let's say, 200 years. Okay. I will come and go. My next generation will come and go. Next generation, it will, but it will stay there uh, with common usage. This table, how this table came? This table came from woods. How this wood, whatever the ingredients were there for that tree to grow, everything came from Krishna. Sunlight came from Krishna. The rain came from Krishna. Everything came from Krishna, right? The earth mm, came from Krishna. The entire, all the elements came from Krishna. So Krishna is the source of everything. We'll see in the eighth verse. Krishna is the source of everything. So that is one way of understanding everything is connected to Krishna. Second thing is how we can utilize it back to Krishna. Maybe it is coming from Krishna, but we may not understand that. We may not utilize that in the service of Krishna. So we need to utilize that in service of Krishna, right? Then we'll understand in an easier way how it is connected to Krishna. Like let's say there is a very high grade marble stone is there. So we may not feel it is connected to Krishna. But first thing is it is coming from Krishna. Everything is coming from Krishna. And then it may be very easy for us to understand if somebody carves a deity out of that marble and then we worship the deity, it's very easy for us to connect to Krishna. Because we are personal, we connect with the personal form of Lord. But even before making the deity, that stone was coming from Krishna. The electricity, what you see. So, for example, how you see another person. Let's say in a room, let's say the night time, there is another person in the room. How do you see that person in the room?
If light is there, then only you can see.
Yeah, you may have eyes, but if the light is not there, your eyes will be useless. You won't be able to
Yes,
see the person.
absolutely.
Now, where from that light is coming? That light is coming from electricity and all. So, if you trace back, you'll find that these electricity, the energy is coming from sun.
Mm.
Like the hydroelectricity, electricity, that water flow that happens due to sun. Okay, the coal and all that has energy within that. That was stored from sun long before. Like that, you'll find that the ultimate source of everything is not ultimate, you can say intermediate source of everything is sun,
Um,
and that sun gets the energy from Brahma Jyoti, which is the bodily ray of Krishna. So Krishna is the source of everything. Without him nothing can work. Then there are another way of the table. This table cannot be made independently by our imagination. There must be something like that stable in the spiritual world. Material world is the reflection of the spiritual world. Because of that original thing, this was made over here. Then again, who made this table? Some carpenter made this table. The carpenter was given the intelligence by
Intelligence.
Krishna. There is a super soul who was giving the inspiration to the carpenter or to the owner to make this table. So that way, there are innumerable ways through which you can connect any even non-living thing to Krishna.
So
And
we
then
have to
you
like trace that.
then one more thing, then sitting on the table, you may do some devotional service also. So that way you are utilizing, so that is getting transcendentalized in the service of Krishna. So there are many ways you can connect each and everything to Krishna. First thing is it is coming from Krishna, that is there for anything and everything. And then you can further connect it based on the utility, how we are utilizing that.
So we'll
And then
trace
there are
that.
other aspects. Then sorry, there are other aspects also. Source point of view, utility point of view,
Mhm.
then how it is built. It is built in the reflect as per the original object in the spiritual world. This is a reflection. Um, then if it is used by another saintly person, that is already transcendentalized. So that way, many like we say Prabhupada's bed and something like that. So this is a transcendental personality use that bed. So we have a different respect, regard, because he is a servant of Krishna. So because of Krishna, we connect to him and we see it that way. So there are many different ways we connect any non-living thing to Krishna. Sorry, Mataji, probably I was interrupting you, but you were asking something.
And no problem. Actually, I was asking that so to connect any non-living thing to Krishna, basically we should trace back or go to the origin, like how it was created. Then we can ultimately find that it is being created by sun. And then there are other points that you said of
Yeah,
sun,
correct. Yes.
intelligence. So one thing you said, Prabhuji, that it is a reflection of a spiritual world. I mean, is it like all these non-living things and living things, whatever we have, it is already existing in the spiritual world as well, and but in a different form.
Yeah.
It's like
It
that.
is like, let's say there is a deer in this material world. So there are deers in the spiritual world also, spiritual way. They are having spiritual body. So the reflection we are seeing here, deer in this material world is the material form, but this is the reflection of the spiritual form. So everything is there. We cannot have anything newly created in this material world, uh, which is not existing in the spiritual world in its original form.
One thing is there, like suppose electricity, it is not there in spiritual world, as Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita.
Hmm. Hmm.
So can we understand it can we understand it in the sense that it is electricity in this world, and it is Krishna's Brahma Jyoti in the spiritual world? Can we
It's
connect?
energy. Basically, it's energy.
Yes.
It's energy, and that energy, this electricity is the reflection of that energy. And then you cannot say like that because mm, electricity is produced when there's a say thunders in the sky, right? When the rain comes and thunder comes in the sky, right? And for the pastime of Krishna in the spiritual world, Krishna can create that kind of thunder. That electricity may be there, right? We cannot just conclude like this. Spiritual world is unfathomable. But that the thumb rule it is given. Anything material over here we see, that is the reflection of this spiritual object or thing or being out there in this material world, whatever you see. Okay.
Mm. And Prabhuji, just one last thing I want to ask. Like if you said so many ways to remember Krishna, so can this be another way? Like if you see something and if we just like break it down materially, that ultimately it is made of like molecules and then atoms are there. Then that atom is also a part of Krishna. Like that can be if we connect. Is it making sense? Or Is it the correct way to connect?
Okay, I'll give you one example. When I was when was dead body was cremated, I was thinking that, so I am telling you that thought. There is a person, and that person died, and what goes out first when the person dies? The person is living now. Next second, that person is dead. What goes out of the body?
Think the body, the soul lives.
Soul lives, right?
Soul
Okay.
lives through any one part of the body.
Yeah, soul leaves the body, right? And what Krishna says, mm, Mamaivam sa jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. So all the living entities are part and parcel of Krishna. So we can understand Krishna may delegate that soul for different purpose. It can go to different places based on the karma. It may go to hell, or it may go to anywhere. But the soul will be under the jurisdiction of the different demigods or demigod servants or somebody who is working under the jurisdiction of Krishna, right? So somebody uh, who are working under Krishna will be taking the responsibility of soul to take to the next destination or whatever. So basically, in that way, you can say that soul has gone back to Krishna, or Krishna has taken the responsibility of that soul, right? We
Hmm.
are seeing the dead body, but the soul is already active, and all these things are happening. Krishna knows what is happening, so he already have taken possession of that soul. That we can understand. Maybe directly, maybe indirectly, however, but he knows. So
Hmm.
now that soul is actually always under Krishna's jurisdiction, but at least in our conditioned state, we think, oh, the soul is in our jurisdiction because we are controlling this person, or this person is with us. Now, as soon as that person is dead,
No
the
free will also.
uh,
No free will also. That.
yeah, so that person is gone. Now, when the soul has gone, along with that has gone the subtle body, mind, intelligence, false ego. Those things are also gone, right? Now it will process and all. It will go to the next body or get liberated or whatever. So that part is gone. What remains, excuse me, is the dead body.
Yes, very.
Okay. Now this dead body, Krishna makes some rule. Then what we should do with the dead body? Rules are given in the scriptures and all. If you don't follow the rule, will suffer. Krishna will arrange for the suffering. If somebody just neglects a dead body, a lot of things can happen. One thing can happen, a lot of bad smell will come. It will make the people's life miserable nearby, right? So that means one will have to follow the rule. Because if they don't follow the rule of committing that, Krishna will delegate the work to other living entities indirectly. Other living entities will eat that body and all, the virus, bacteria and all. And whether a human being is doing or anybody else are doing, eventually the rest of the body will have a gati or a destination. How? All the water in the body will merge with the water.
Hmm. Hmm.
Hmm? All the heat will merge with the heat. Right? And all the gas will merge with the gas. And ether will go in the ether. The latest will go earth, right? Whatever solid matter is there. And this will be like you see the metal scraps, right? So there is a metal pot maybe. You think this is very old and little bit broken or little bit rusty or something, and you give it to metal scrap or something. They take it, give some money to you. Are they going to use it as it is? No. They will give to those who to melt that metal and segregate the metals. A lot of things they do, and then it's fine. New metal will come up, and then a lot of utensils, new things they will do. There will not be any trace of old things and something like that. Okay.
Hmm.
Similarly, when the body dies, you never know. Krishna can do separately also, but Krishna may reuse those uh, panchatattva
And
for making a new body.
Mm.
And this when the bacteria they attack and all, then they produce a lot of acid and all. That way, this body decomposes. Means what is this is gradually going to merge with the earth. So it's a matter of time. Many centuries later, it may happen early also, but but people make it earlier. So just to comply with Lord's direction, they put salt and all. The body decomposes very quickly if it is you know given samadhi or so. But otherwise, it is burned within few hours. Everything goes to its elementary position, and only what remains ash. Right now, as I am coming back to cremation, so those things, gas will go in gas place, water will go, and then everything. What will remain? Two things will remain. One is ash. Other thing is asti, the bone over here, right? Now what? Krishna says, everybody follows my rule. Mama Vartanu Anuvartante, Manusa Partha Sarvasa. So I was just meditating on that. Uh, Krishna says you burn. So if you are burning, Krishna knows what to do. He will make sure those are elementary things are going to its own place. What will remain? Ash and this bone, asti. Then Krishna is saying, don't disrespect these remains of the person and uh, throw that in some sacred river and all. So this what to do with that ash and all, Krishna knows very well, and water takes care of that. It grinds and all, and eventually it will go to the elemental thing, and nothing contamination will remain in this world. Everything will become fresh, and all the elements will be ready for the next body. So the nice system is made by Krishna. So everything will go to its own place. Now, at the end of the creation, what will happen? 100 years, there is no rain. The scorching sun and all, it creates a huge blaze and then fire. Then it burns the whole universe. Then it gets dissolved with water, right? So now you got water. Yeah? Then eventually it becomes fire. It goes towards subtle. When the creation happens, it goes from subtle to gross. And when the annihilation happens, it goes from gross to subtle, reverse. So then it will become fire. Fire from there, air, then ether, and everything will merge, and then eventually it will become Mahatattva, means all the uh, gross and subtle matter, everything non-differentiated, all the amalgamate, that is called Mahatattva. And then one last step remains. Mahatattva is all amalgamated things in a manifested form, and then the next step in the reverse direction, Pradhan. Pradhan is non-manifested thing. So just imagine all the creation, whatever you see, ultimately it can eventually go to unmanifested thing. Okay. So that's then can enter into Lord and all doesn't matter.
It will enter into Garbhodakashai Vishnu's body then.
It even so eventually the universe is annihilated. So then it can go enter into Mahavishnu's body. That's it. That's nothing because universes come out of his body, right? So it's like that. So he has the complete arrangement for annihilation, maintenance, creation, maintenance, and annihilation. Everything is perfectly planned, created by him. So there is our understanding is what is incomplete, but his plan and execution is complete.
If someone is not following what he has recommended, as in they don't make proper, like they don't put the ashes in the holy river and like that, they don't follow the rules. So still there is a backup plan, like Krishna has arranged everything, and then ultimately it will go back. The Panchatattvas will be uh,
Yeah.
going back to what where they were.
Eventually, it will. People make mummies and all those things like dead bodies. They preserve for a long time, but how long they can preserve?
Right.
Eventually, it will go. Krishna. The only thing is they will delay the process, But eventually, everything will go back to what Krishna wants. There is no change in that plan. That's how it is. Yeah, does that answer the question?
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay.
sir. Thank you very much.
Uh,
Very amazing explanation.
Thank you,
And
Mataji, for being patiently hearing. And any other question, you can let me know.
no, Prabhuji, it's like one thing I just I want to ask that you said about 11 Rudras, which where
Hmm.
should I read to find about that? Because I knew there's only one Lord Shiva so far.
Hmm. 11 Rudras are there. I think most probably the third canto. Exact location I can tell you. Uh, when the creation is talked about, and from how the different living entities come from Lord Brahma. Hmm. So if you read Shrimad Bhagavatam, hmm, and there you will find that how four Kumaras were created, and then Rudra, how he came. There you will find 11 Rudras and all. 11th Rudrani is also there. Hmm. Lord Shiva is the most prominent. So one more thing I'm just telling that should help you. So far we talked about Krishna, but about Lord Shiva, I would say that there are two tattas which are said very difficult to understand. One is called Guru Tatta and one is called Shiva Tatta. So Shiva Tatta is not so straightforward. It's very difficult to understand. So you may get caught up in that, just like you were saying. I heard about one Shiva, why it is 11. Then, then tomorrow you may say, I heard about Lord Shiva stays in Kailasha, but you are saying he's staying in Mahakalpur. You are saying he is also staying Sadashiv Loka. You are also saying that he is staying in the coverings of the universe. You are also saying he's staying in the different elements of creation.
Hmm.
The matter of the fact is Lord Shiva has many residents. Okay.
Krishna is the supreme, right? So he is everywhere. So why Lord Shiva is also? I mean, how is it like Lord Shiva is also in every living thing, as you said?
See, the
So,
point is, it's a different way of looking at it. Um, Lord Shiva is not there in every living entity, right? Paramatma, Super Soul, is there in every living entity. That's the point.
like it is a separate tattva, which means
Yeah, Shiva Tatta is different. Shiva Tatta is different. But why people struggle to understand Lord Shiva? Because Lord Shiva is greatest Vaishnava.
mm,
But we are used to seeing Vaishnav in a certain way. People may have vertical tilak and all. He has horizontal tilak, right? So people may not understand. Vaishnavas wear nice, decent, washed clothes and all. He may remain naked or he may wear tiger skin and he may put ashes on all over his body. He may, Vaishnavas stay in the temple or maybe forest. He may stay in the crematorium like that. So, Vaishnavas associate with senior Vaishnavas and all. He will associate with ghosts, goblins like that. So he is a difficult personality to understand. But basically, because of his elevated position, he is doing a service which is a very thankless task. He is delivering the ghosts and goblins and all. So others, I mean, I don't want to say everybody, but many uh, strong person also may get shaken up to do that kind of strong service, thankless service to deliver the ghosts and all those things. So Lord has given this task to the greatest Vaishnava in this world.
mm,
So like that. So and then from Lord Shiva comes the Rudra Sampradaya also, Sampradaya of great pure Vaishnavas, and at the same time Lord Shiva is also worshipped as demigod. When somebody worships a demigod as demigod, they may ask for many material things and he may fulfill. He may become very easily happy and he become very angry very easily. That's why he's called Ashutosh. But then that Vaishnavas know that he should not be worshipped separately as Lord Shiva. He should be worshipped as Vaishnavanam Yathasambhu. That way. So the mode of worship is different. He says, Aradhananam Sarvesham Vishnu Aradhanam Param Tasmat Paratam Devi Tadyanam Samarchanam. He said to Parvati Devi that worshipping um, better than worshipping Lord Vishnu is to worship. So best of the worship is to worship the Lord Vishnu, and better than that is to worship the pure devotees of Vishnu. Now, if you talk about that, he is Vaishnavanam Jatasam. So that is here, he is a pure Vaishnav, he should be worshipped. So indirectly it is coming back to him. But in that case, one will be worshipping him as Vaishnav, not as a Lord Shiva independent personality. So there is a difference between these two. So that's the way it is. Mm. So that's why he is very tricky. But that way he is actually serving a single person serving different personalities. He is able to assist the pure Vaishnavas. He is able to assist the materialist persons. He is able to assist the mode of ignorance person, ghosts, goblins, everybody. He has multiple avenues to assist living entities. Even the snakes and all, they are also assisted by him. Okay.
Yes.
Any other question?
No, thank you very much. It's very
Okay.
good clarity.
Thank you, Mataji, for being part of the session. So, Hare Krishna. So, thank
Yes.
you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad
Jai
Gita ki jai.